Okay guys, today we are going to put this onto this. We're going to get it wired up, hopefully get it in the water later on today, but we want to drill through the kayak, run it up to the battery box, and then show the install kind of slowly as I take you through it. So hopefully we'll get this on all connected up. It's the Garmin Striker CV, so we've got our clear view and down scan, and we've got the mapping contour too on it. So let's see if we can start drilling some holes and get this thing installed. Okay, so here's the plan. I did buy a ram ball mount. I did buy the 1.5 inch ball mounting, so I got it from Hook One Outfitters. I'll put a link in below. So I've got that already mounted on the actual monitor, okay, the actual fish finder itself. So what we're gonna do today is I've got my spot picked out. I know exactly where I'm gonna drill this hole, but what we need to figure out is we're gonna install a Hobie mount kit that I bought for this because it looked like it was the best one to buy. We're going to install my battery box. I'll show you what I did there. And then we're going to run the transducer cable up through somewhere in here so I can still put my lid on and keep it wireless. Or I'm sorry, not wireless, but I like a clean boat line. I don't want a bunch of stuff like coming out and moving around where you can see all the wires at. So I'm trying to keep everything inside the hole and run it all the way up to the battery box. So what we're thinking is that we're gonna put this Hobie hole probably right about here. So we'll set the camera up, we'll get all the components out, we'll show it to everybody, we'll lay it all out so that way if you guys are trying to install something like this on your native, then you'll have a good idea of kind of where you need to start at and the things that you need to gather up before you're even able to get to this point right here. Okay, here's what we've done so far. We've got the finder already mounted on the ram ball mount. So for this finder, because it was a bigger one, it's a 5-inch screen. It's the Garmin Striker 5 CV. Look it up, it'll give you all the specs to it, but I knew it was. I did buy the Gear Track ram ball right here. So, and it's tight. I debated on putting it here, but I ended up putting it here because my worry was that as I move around the rudder, depending upon where the actual mount was, is that I'd end up hitting it. So I thought this is probably, for me, it's probably the best place for it. So that kind of brought me to where I thought I'm gonna put this hole somewhere right in there. I want it clear and out of the way of the gear track, but I also need it, you know, not far enough down, but I need to make sure that I'm not going too far in, if that makes sense. So let's take a look at some of the stuff that we're gonna need if you do what I'm doing to install this thing. Okay, so what we got is basically we have our hole bit. I got this from Harbor Freight. This is gonna drill us into the side there where we can get our Hobie fish finder mount clamped in. So I've already got this set up to where I know that this side right here are where my transducer and my power cord are gonna come out. And then back here, there's like some small clamps that helps you fit that right. And then some self-tapping screws in here. So that way when we screw it down, we can silicone it in. We've got some zip ties that as we run the wire, we're gonna zip tie the power cord and the transducer cord together so that way that it's not dangling down in case you get water in the hole. Finally, some other stuff that we're gonna use is, I'm not sure if I'm gonna do this one or if I'm gonna do this one to run our transducer cord through the hole back up through the propel drive. Hey, last thing I'm gonna use is some marine goop. It's our sealant. It's the stuff that's gonna keep everything watertight. And then I use some Velcro. So we're gonna take this and basically just use this sticky Velcro to make sure that our battery box stays where we wanna put it and it doesn't go anywhere. So let's go into the battery box here really quick. All right, so for the battery box, this is not really like a how-to, it's more of a how-did. So I put it together. I actually just took a bunch of the ideas off YouTube and then made it the way that I wanted to make it. So essentially what you have is you have your 12-volt battery. I've got a 30 volt amp fused right there. Of course, white is my ground, red is my positive. I've got some more of my marine silicone sealant down there that I put. And then I used one of the, but this is more of like a plastic style grommet. So I had to buy the, what I call the pigtail, the S cable. So I've already installed this onto the fish finder, which came just as a red and black wire, just straight. So you actually have to install this on. So once that I got that on, I did pull this out just a little bit because we had that marine sealant down in there, and I wanted to make sure that some of that goop actually got back in and spread out and around, so as it cured, it actually started to, you know, to stick to anything that it was near about. So I didn't just have like a ball of it like at the very end of where the wires go in. I actually pulled it through a little bit. So all right, so I've got the Native Titan 10.5. okay, so for my boat, the front hatch pops back up and you have complete access to the entire inside of the boat. So what I'm gonna do is this battery box is going to go right here. We're gonna put our double-sided tape right here. We're gonna stick our battery box on top of it. Our pigtail will come out this way, and our transducer cable and our power cable will go this way also. So let's get set up, let's check our holes, and we'll see where we wanna put this thing through. First hole in the kayak. All right. So what we're trying to accomplish here is that we know we need to run the transducer cable from the actual transducer all the way up through the center propel drive area, all the way up to somewhere right around in here. So if I want to use this thing to kind of thread that wire through, it'll fit through. I know that looks a little messy right now. We'll get that cleaned up. So, put our top back on, make sure it doesn't interfere with anything. Using our little, these guys. That's not going nowhere. All right, so we got our hole drilled. You know what? When I did this, the camera wasn't on. Obviously, I'd forgotten about it. I got overzealous. But essentially, kind of what you want to do is just, you know, don't be in a hurry. For God's sakes, don't be in a hurry. I mean, a hole is final, if you know what I mean. So, just take your time, slowly fit it through. That's what I did. Take my Hobie mount. I'm gonna make sure that, hey, does it fit in there? It does. Everything's seated in there the way that it needs to be. So what we're gonna do is now we're gonna run the cords up through here. All right, we got the wires through now. We've got them all the way through. We got the Hobie mount on. So basically what we're gonna do now is we're gonna make sure that we've got our wire clearance. Okay, so we're going to take the power cord, the transducer cord. We're actually gonna plug them in to the fish finder and find out what our, our give is gonna be here. So both of them are plugged in. Feed this through before we start to tighten it. So, all right, so now what we're gonna do is drop some more marine silicone and actually screw these things in. So here we go. We got everything on, we got everything hooked up. I've cleaned up some of the silicone along the lines there, so I'm okay with that. It's good enough for government work. We've got everything plugged into the fish finder. We got our battery box in the way we want it. It's sitting on top of some of the Velcro. You got a little movement, but it's not gonna be anything that, like, you know, kicks it out or anything like that. So we're gonna actually plug it in now. Let's see if this thing works. We're gonna do it live. So here we go. Okay, plugged in. Bring it around. We're up. So, kind of a really raw video. Heck, honestly, the hardest part was that first hole, you know? So, once it's in, it's in. Like I said, I mean, I'm not gonna see some of that silicone stuff there. I'm gonna be able to clean that off here. And, you know, I like clean lines on a boat, man. So I just want it to look good. So I think what we're gonna do is let this stuff cure, and then we're gonna get out on the water and see if we've got it all set up the way we want to, man.